Near the climax of Part 1 of Chainsaw Man, Barem made his first appearance as one of Makima's 7 brainwashed weapon devils. He is the Flamethrower Man. After Denji defeated Makima, Barem worked closely with Fami, the Famine Devil, to defend humanity against the Death Devil and prevent the apocalypse from happening. Barem acted as Fami's right hand and carried out her plans of creating a cult around Chainsaw Man. Under his management, the church successfully indoctrinated hundreds of thousands of people from around the world, with most of them being young adults or teenagers. But rather than a gathering of like-minded individuals to celebrate Denji's heroic deeds, the purpose of this cult is far more nefarious. Barem and Fami transformed much of the church's followers into mindless chainsaw zombies. 350,000 of these creatures wreaked havoc around the world, indiscriminately killing anyone they saw, completely destroying Denji's reputation. But this is only the beginning. Barem goes out of his way to make Denji suffer. He sets Denji's apartment on fire, burning his pets alive, including Power's cat, Nyako, Denji's last memento of her and his previous life. He then incited an angry mob to stab Denji's little sister, Nayuta, and delivered her head to Denji on a literal platter. Barem says that he is only doing this for the sake of saving the world, because he believes that Denji's anguish will draw out the real Chainsaw Man from within him, which can then be used to fight the Death Devil. He tries to act nonchalant about his cruelty towards Denji, saying that it can't be helped. But there is obviously a more personal reason behind what he does. Barem has a clear dislike of Denji. As he commits horrific acts against him, he can't help but smirk. He even went through the trouble of sending Mary to infiltrate Denji's school and bringing him back to the church, just so he can provoke and threaten Denji in person. He takes great pleasure in watching Denji panic and distress. In his most vulnerable moment, as he was on the verge of collapse and bleeding out, Barem revealed what it is that motivates him. It's his love for Makima. While the weapon hybrids were under Makima's control, they were brainwashed into thinking that they were madly in love with her. However, unlike the others, Barem's infatuation for Makima persisted even after her death. Perhaps his feelings were so genuine that he didn't even need to be brainwashed to begin with. Barem was able to resist Nayuta's mind control, and he wonders if that's because of Makima's abilities lasting post-mortem or because of his strong devotion towards her. In all likelihood, it's the latter. The Control Devil's powers only work on those that they feel superior to, but Barem doesn't seem to respect Nayuta as a superior being, at least in comparison to Makima. And there are instances where the Control Devil subjects are able to resist and override their commands with great emotional triggers. Either way, Makima's influence on Barem lingers. Barem also seemed to have more rapport with her than the other weapon hybrids did, as he was the only one to offer his input during Denji and Makima's final battle, and he seems to still retain memories from his time with her, at least enough to remember Makima's goals and ideologies. Barem carries a deep vendetta against Denji for what he did to Makima, and blames him for the state of the world. Because if Makima had succeeded in taming Pochita, she would have erased death and other undesirables in life and created the perfect utopia. Or so he thinks. So now Barem seeks to finish what Makima started, which is why he is working with Fami. He believes that her intentions with Chainsaw Man are the same as Makima's. Fami is most likely lying to him, but we will cover that in a future video. Barem is like Denji if he had chosen to stay as Makima's dog. He probably recognizes that, which contributes to why he hates Denji so much. Like Hachiko, he now continues to perform his duties to an owner that can never acknowledge him. Barem's primary goal is to continue Makima's legacy, and destroying the Death Devil is only a part of that. In fact, he might be planning to turn on Fami once this is over because she was also on Makima's hit list. But Makima's to-do list contains more than just devils. On the night of Denji's 17th birthday, Makima shot power and revealed her true colors. To deprive Denji from even dreaming of having anything that resembles a normal life, she promised to kill anyone else that ever gets close to him, whether they be friends, family, or lovers. And Barem does exactly that. He burnt Denji's pets, he killed Nayuta, and he thought about going after Asa too, but only decided against it because he didn't think that their relationship was intimate enough. Barem acts as Makima's ghost, fulfilling her final wishes and haunting Denji for his imagined crimes. Barem's name means scale in Turkish, and when he first met Denji, he noticed his dilemma of having to choose between living as a normal person or living as a superhero. His last name is Bridge, so we were led to believe that this character will symbolize choices or balance. But rather than either of these things, Barem's scales represent his justice. He says his actions towards Denji were punishment. Across religions, flames and judgment are often synonymous with one another, and Barem has employed both the fire and the justice devil in his mission. Not to mention that he himself is the flamethrower. So Barem believes that he is bringing fiery, divine retribution to Denji, confining him to his own personal hell. However, there is possibly an even more sinister twist to Barem's revenge. In 1981, while studying abroad in France, Japanese exchange student Sagawa Issei invited a female classmate to his apartment to study together. While the classmate had her back turned, he shot and killed her, and then portioned and devoured her remains, amongst other things. Because of his wealthy father's influence, Issei got off relatively easy, and regained his freedom after only about 5 years. Surprisingly, upon his return to Japan, he wasn't completely shunned by society. Consumed by morbid curiosity, journalists and media members reached out to Issei for insight on what it's like to eat another human being. Throughout the next decade, Issei made a living off of his notoriety. He was invited on talk shows, published articles and books, and even had a role in a movie. During interviews, he said that the taste and texture of human flesh is similar to that of raw tuna, and compared the experience to dining in a sushi restaurant. Before Barem tormented Denji with the sight of Nayuta's head, he forced him to eat a series of sushi, egg sushi, squid sushi, and then ling tuna. As Barem signaled for Nayuta to be delivered down the conveyor belt, he called her Deluxe Fatty Tuna. Barem making Denji eat Nayuta would be a dark parallel to Denji eating Makima, the ultimate poetic vengeance for taking Makima away from him. Both times Denji was feeding on the control devil. The first time it gave him his freedom, but the second it reverted him back to being a tool to be used. And before handing Denji the ling tuna plate, Barem urged Denji to chew slowly to savor the taste, almost as if he wanted Denji to figure out for himself that it wasn't fish that he's eating. The shock and the guilt would have been even more of a feast for Barem's eyes. The cover art of volume 18 of the manga depicts Nayuta in what appears to be a farm. This farm has no animals or livestock in it, so perhaps this is suggesting that Nayuta is the animal. And author Fujimoto seems to have a fascination with the inclusion of cannibalism in his stories. His previous series, Fire Punch, started with the consumption of human flesh, while part 1 of Chainsaw Man ended with such. Even the concept of devils in the series is centered around cannibalism. Devils can grow stronger by eating more powerful devils. So there's a good chance that Denji ate Nayuta, which would add another layer of tragedy and horror to an already painful story. And how will Barem's story end? Well, if he's following Makima's footsteps, then there's really only one place for him to end up, which is in somebody else's stomach. Thanks for watching. It is only after I finished recording and editing this video that I realized I may have been slightly mispronouncing Barem's name. The more correct way to say his name may be Barem instead. and this is reflected in the Japanese characters of his name and the Turkish word that his name is based on.